Hey, I'm Grizzly Bear, and as I'm sure you can imagine from the title of this video, I'm a pretty big fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, and more importantly, Five Nights at Freddy's fan games. I love them, I love how creative and how unique they are, but there is almost an overwhelming amount of Five Nights at Freddy's fan games out there that get swept under the rug, under the ever-growing tide of games. Because of this, and because I'm horrifically chronically online and quite lonely, I decided I wanted to go on Game Jolt, filter by newly released, and download a few games and just try out something new. Do I recommend doing this? No. Is there a very high chance I'm going to get some sort of a virus? Probably. Am I going to do it anyway? Yeah. But for this video I picked out 3 games that I played that I felt was worth talking about because they were surprisingly really fun, and I think they deserve the time and attention of a lot more people. And also, this is my first video, so please go easy on me and don't bully me, but if you did like it, please like and subscribe, as that'd be really cool. And also I'll link the games to the Game Jolt page in the description, okay? Yeah, please check them out, haha. But aside from that, first up is Five Nights at Freddy's Good Old Days by a person named CharlesPlace. Now, the Game Jolt page does leave a lot to be imagined, and it really doesn't show too much, but the description does give a fun brief of overview of the game, as well as a Q&A and tips on how to deal with each animatronic, which is really cool and fun, and I wish I was aware of this before I started playing, because, well, it's quite difficult. Now, booting up the game immediately, the art and just the general feel of the game felt really good. Being able to see the animatronics just move around on the screen also felt fun, and it meant I could think ahead for what to do rather than just react to, you know, when an animatronic appeared on a camera. You know, such as something like, you know, you hear Freddy's laughing in Fnaf 1, you have to go, oh my god, time to shut the door. But gameplay wise, it's nothing too crazy, nothing too outlandish. You know, Bonnie moves slowly to one door and Freddy moves slowly to another door, and you stop them by shutting the door in their face. Typical stuff. What is different and made me want to cry my eyes out is Chica. All she does is appear on a certain camera and slowly start to make you lose access to the cameras, and once all of them are gone, it's donezo and it's game over. She jump scares you by some way. Now, you can stop her from shocking her, which feels great, especially later on in the night. It feels so darn fulfilling getting her out of the picture because she is infuriating at times. Chica, get out. Right, where's Bonnie Belugi? But the recharge on the shock is ungodly slow, meaning that by the time it's recharged, Chica is already back there and stealing your cameras. But thank God there is also another button that you can reset your cameras and give yourself a second chance, else it would be probably near impossible to beat this forsaken chicken, to put it lightly. What is cool as well is that this game is only one night long, where you just have to survive from midnight till 6 AM. You know, you do see quite a lot of these FNAF fan games that are just one night, such as, you know, One Night at Flumpty's, for example, where instead of it being 6 or 5 days, it's split down into 6 seconds, or 6 segments, or 3, or 5, I don't know. But, I mean, I did just lie to you, so it doesn't really matter, because there isn't one night. Well, yeah, there is, but there's actually 2 nights. So the first one going from midnight till 6, and then it goes all upside down and reverse, and then you have to play from 6 until 12. With increased animatronics movement, Chica is a lot more present, annoyingly, and you also, your power from the night is carried over to the power from this night as well, but with a little bit of your like backup generator resources. But also, Foxy is here. Now, all Foxy really does is sit in your office and only move when you aren't looking at him, which for the most part would be fine because, you know, you can react to Bonnie and you can react to Freddy as they appear at your doors. But Chica is always on that darn camera, and she is always getting rid of my stuff, so you have to flick up as quickly as you can, shock her, and then turn it back down, and Foxy moves very quickly. It is almost unfortunate how quick Foxy moves, but you do unfortunately have to take the time to look away from Foxy, meaning he gets closer and eventually just like lightly taps you on the shoulder. But overall, the game was really fun, a honestly enjoyable short experience, and I can give nothing but praise to the art here. The game looks so comical and cute and beautiful, and Freddy's eyes scan around when he's on one of the cameras, which is so cool. The game is great, just go check it out please, it's really cool, links in the description. But the next game that I wanted to check out was one called Cake Diner by DevilRabbitStudio. Description for this game: fairly basic, just saying you're a man looking for a job to save your home. You work, you know, it's about to shut down soon, blah blah blah, you need money, you're desperate. But the screenshots of this game, I didn't know if I wanted to play it anymore or not. It looked very scary. The screenshots are very low quality, and there's unfortunately quite a bit of broken English, which made me think this was going to be, you know, just a typical like resource slop sort of Five Nights at Freddy's fan game. But my god, was I wrong. Even up until starting the first night properly, I wasn't exactly taking my time on it seriously. The menu and the intro cutscene for the first night is a pretty darn good scene of what the game was going to be like. Kicking you out, give this house to someone else, so this is your last chance, okay, bye. Period. This is an awful house. It's got a very sort of low quality, almost like an analog horror-esque aesthetic going on there, which is pretty cool. And then you start the first night. You can't use flashlights too long. For long, then your flashlight will die, so be careful how you use it. Got it. So... ooh. Oh, I like this. Yeah, the game is gross looking, but in a good way. A very good way. The immediate visuals, the low quality everything, and the static 2D pictures remind me of those, you know, those mid-2000s point-and-click horror games like The House or Escape the Boogeyman, where you just got like click to move around the house and escape, and you always get jump scared. It's really scary. I'm not sure what it is about Cake Diner, but it made me feel really uncomfortable, like I was a young kid playing something I really shouldn't be playing, and knowing darn well I'm going to regret it in about 20 minutes time when I inevitably get jump scared. I don't know how to describe it. It made my cheeks feel hot. Not those kind of cheeks. And I don't think any horror game has made me feel that way in a very long time. You know, I felt uncomfortable playing it. But the gameplay. Night 1 has one threat, that being rabbits. It's a fairly easy mechanic. All you have to do is wait for it to appear at your left and then hold your flash down on it for a long time. A really long time. An unbelievably long time. And can I just say that the fact that the only animations in this game is him tweaking at the door really just adds so much more to the horror factor. Like, he shouldn't be in this game. Like, he just stands out too much. In a good way, of course. But Night 1 is easy. Beating it gives you a cutscene explaining more about how broke you are and how you don't want to work there. It's relatable, but, you know, the actual gameplay isn't relatable, because if I was there... I mean, I died playing this game a lot, so me actually being there in person, yeah, similar outcome. But Night 2 does introduce a new threat, that being the puppets, which also has a fairly easy mechanic. You find it on the camera, it stays in this box, and when it starts to freak out, you put on some Frank Ocean until he gets tired of that, so then you swap it over to a bit of scissor to calm him down. It's great, it's easy. I'm not sure what it is about this mechanic though, but I died way more times to the puppet than I did any other threat in the entire game. Purely because I kept clicking in the very big and obvious boxes to change the tracks, but clicking on the track that's already playing, triggering his jump scare and killing me. I don't know why I kept doing it, but I kept doing it, and it was so annoying. I think because I did it once and it was ingrained in my mind that I shouldn't be doing it, and I was panicking and I was scared. I don't know. But Night 3 comes around and we're introduced to the bane of my existence playing this game, Ms. Cupcake. All she does is appear randomly in your office and drain your battery, but sometimes she is unbelievably hard to find. And I say clearly that you need as much battery as you can, as the bunny needs so long to hold down your flash on it to send him away. Also, the way Miss Cupcake looks in the office is disgusting, and I kind of hate her a lot. But up until this point in the gameplay is very easy to master. You alternate between checking the left door, checking the one music box cam, and clicking away Miss Cupcake when she dares to make an appearance. You know, it's fairly easy. You only need to worry about one camera, one door, and one cupcake. But Night 4 comes around, and we're introduced to a new threat. One that made it very, very hard to beat the game. That being the bear. Once again, a fairly easy mechanic and nothing too new. You have to keep your camera on him to stop him from moving, and as soon as he gets to your office, it's game over. The issue is that up until this point, I kept my camera on the puppet, so now I unfortunately had to swap up my playstyle and move off the camera. Just from the puppet to, you know, look around at all of the other cameras and stuff. But just a quick side note, talking about the cameras, I love that it just goes on like a rotation. Or not a rotation, you press A and D to flick between the cameras, and there's like 6 or 7 oh my god, I'm not including that. But yeah, you just keep your camera on one and you just have to flick through the cameras. It's very cool. Now, it may sound easy dealing with the bear and in terms of dealing with him on top of everyone else, but the bear zooms so darn fast through the cameras that by the time 2 AM hit, he was already one camera away from the office, and then the bunny decides to show up and you have to sit there with your flashlight on him for about 45 minutes, and you basically thrown your entire run at this point. Is it a skill issue? Yeah, 100% it's a skill issue, but am I still going to blame the bear? Yeah, of course I am. Now, this isn't a full review on the game, this is more so a little, you know, just a little playthrough and I guess report of what I experienced and my enjoyment of it. But I can safely say that this was a very pleasant surprise, and I will definitely be coming back to this game again to play it all the way through and probably make a full video analysing it, because wow, there's so much to talk about and get into, but I'm going to save that for later and instead move on to the next and final game of this video, that being Peanuts Destiny by FloopsyYT. Now, off the bat, the game is kind of similar in a way to Good Old Days, where Good Old Days, you know, the one we mentioned previously in the video, where it's got cutesy, artistic aesthetic, but gameplay-wise is more akin to Ultimate Custom Night. You know, you pick the characters you want and you survive against them. You can pick their difficulty and hope you remember their mechanic, because there's a lot to deal with, and half the time I didn't and I died so many times. And there's 10 different characters to pick from, but there's also, you know, there's pre-built challenges and a hard mode to try out. I didn't try the hard mode because I died so many times just putting, you know, the basic 3 animatronics on, or the basic 3 characters on a really low setting. But I suppose if you wanted to try the hard mode or some of the pre-built challenges, go ahead. I'm not going to. I'm not going to stop you either, you do you. Now, I did play through a few different challenges, lost them all countless times, and just played around and explored the game a bit, and I probably ended up sinking about 3 hours in one sitting just messing around and testing my skills. I had a genuinely great time. Now, alarmingly, the only challenge I did manage to beat was one that I made myself, where I just included any of the characters you defeat by shooting them with a gun, which is something to know and probably something for me to think about in private on my own at some point. But we move on. Now, the description on their game job page writes that this game was made mostly for casual players to enjoy, and yeah, I did in fact enjoy. But what I didn't enjoy was the sun and the moon character. Its gimmick is very simple. The sun counts down slowly from about 750, 800-ish. I think it depends on what difficulty you put them on, I'm not sure. And if it reaches 0, you lose. But you can reset its countdown by shooting it for some reason, which sounds easy on paper, but if you shoot the moon, it's game over, you lose. And let me just say, the gosh darn moon will get in your way so many times. You know, you've got them both flying around your little bedroom bit constantly. Half the time they overlap as you're about to take the shot, and you end up getting some sort of like collateral kill on them both, and it's game over. It does take some effort lining up your shots, is what I'm trying to say. Another enemy I had a really big issue with was the playful poodles. Once again, for no reason at all, rather than my now alarmingly clear skill issue. To summarise them easily, there's 3 of them, and they do 3 different things. One barks a certain way and you have to find him on the camera and click on him. One barks a different way and appears at your door and you have to close it. And the final one barks a different way and sits on your desk, where you can shoot him to get rid of him. If you leave him up for too long, it's game over. And yes, multiple can spawn in at once. And yes, I did put playful poodles on with the sun and the moon. And yes, I did accidentally shoot the moon instead of one of the playful poodles and ruin a run. Or 3. But amazingly, there is just so much more to talk about with this game, and there's so many different characters. But if I reviewed all of them, this video would probably be like 50 hours long. But I felt it was important to talk about these ones as they ruined my life. And they were pretty much the ones that I had on at all times. There was also that one that, I don't remember, there was Floopsy, that appears at your right door and it knocks 6 times, and that's when it leaves, is after the 6th knock. This I thought was going to be really easy because, you know, you can just count to 6, but then I remembered I forgot how to count during the night and it stressed me out, so I ended up just holding the door shut until it left. But half the time, you know, there was someone else at the left door and it kind of just ruined the run. There was also a character that you have to swap over its stream to get rid of, which is quite cool, I think. I don't know, it was good fun. Overall, I really liked the game and I'll definitely be checking out more of it in the future and keeping an eye on Floopsy's work, as it was really fun and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the other 2 creators too, CharlesPlace and DevilRabbitStudio. I thoroughly enjoyed my time playing all 3 of these games, and I hope you do too. Once again, if you do want to check out any of them, and I do encourage you to do so, the links to all of them will be in the description. And if you did enjoy this video, please do let me know in the comments, and, you know, while you're down there, maybe even give it a like and a subscribe. But I mean, I tried to get a variety of different ones in here. These were all ones that were uploaded very, very recently on GameJolt. Like I said, I filtered by new and then just downloaded 3 random games off there. But I did try to include a variety of games in this video. You know, I've got one scary one cutesy, sort of like cartoony one, and then, you know, just another random one that isn't scary. I didn't want to play too many scary games, if I'm completely honest. But anyway, I'm going to call it there. I'm a grizzly bear, and I'll see you around. Thank you for watching.